one, I'd love to thank everybody for showing up today. This is quite an honor. It's a little bit outside of my realm. First of all, I want to thank God for directing me to Kirkwall Road about 18 years ago. I came from a 1,000 square foot small little garage operation to a 14,000 square foot facility in Azusa. At the time, I was dating a young lady, my wife, Nora. Nora, come up here. Get off the video camera. So I was dating my wife and told her I was struggling with business and I needed to grow. And I looked at her and I said, I need to start this business. And she goes, I believe in you. I believe God will bless you. She knew my work ethics already from the business I had before this when I started. Hard work, dedication, and long hours. And when I looked at her, I said, I don't know how I'm going to do this financially. Being a single mom for 18 years before I met her, she took out a loan on her home and handed me a check for $65,000 to get started because she believed in me. So first of all, I thank God, and second of all, I thank Nora for believing in me and directing me and being there every step of the way. She calls me a workaholic, but it takes what it takes, and I got to do what I got to do. Thank you so much, babe. I appreciate you. I've got a lot of things to do here. The team that I have here, it may take a while, but I want to thank my team. Robert Serrano, 17 years of service. Lalo Eduardo, 12 years of service. George, 9 years, George. Thank you so much. Chris, 7 years. Thank you, Chris. Adriana, 7 years. She's my office manager. She keeps all this stuff flowing. Vicky's 3 years. She's in charge of so much paperwork, I can't believe how she keeps this thing going. She's amazing. Thank you, team. Acrylatex, Montage paint, paints for less. Whoever we are one day, we may change.
We've only gone through like 5 or 6 names.
5 or 6 different names. Right. One of them's going to stick. Thank you very much, guys. Aside from the thanks, I want to thank a couple individuals that are here that made this happen. 2008, I signed a contract for $185,000 a year of rent, and I went to the mailbox one day and said, recession headed our way. Dope! Wrong timing, Brian. But God brought me to that facility on Kirkwall 2 months before the recession hit, and I told him, I said, Lord, you didn't bring me this far to fail. What's your plan? I'll take care of you. I'll take care of you. Okay, I believe it. So as I'm walking down and up and down Kirkwall praying and crying and seeking his blessings, and I'm worried about our facility, the money I put in. I can't pay my wife back at the time, my girlfriend back for the loan. My good friend Steve Eckert pops in the door. I've known Steve for probably 10 years in the hazardous waste industry. And I said, Steve, I need some help. I need one of the big boys to step up to the plate and approve us to treat your... In California, they consider latex paint hazardous waste. So the waste is coming from the hazardous waste industry, and that's where Steve came in. And I want Steve to say a few words, because without Steve, he was my number one. He got this thing rolling, and I really appreciate you, Steve.
It's my pleasure and honor to be here with Brian today. when I met Brian, what was it, 17 years? 18, whatever it was. And Brian came to me, and at that time I managed one of the largest HHW collection companies in Southern California. Alongside Clean Harbor, Veolia, but we had a lot of the market at that time. And Brian asked me to come out to his facility and check it out, and I said okay. But he was up against the wall. He was up against the big boy, and he was just a little pollywog then. So, I realized right away Brian's potential, and I had a gut feeling this man's going to succeed. And I swear to God, it happened. He's a true entrepreneur. Where all these other companies were being stagnant and going to the old ways, like landfills and things like that, Brian had a better idea. And I give him more credit than a lot of people know that he's worked really hard in developing procedures and things like that to get this stuff out of the landfills. And that was very gratifying for me, because that's why I got into the business, in the environmental business. But after I met with Brian, and I went to my boss, and he said, Steve, we don't know. He's new, and he's going up against an established company that's been handling our material for a long time. Are you sure you want to do this? And I told my boss Hector at that time, was the Southern California regional manager. I said, look, I'm telling you, this guy is going to make it, and he's going to be a benefit to us, because he's going to give us an outstanding alternative, which we didn't have at that time. And so I'm certainly glad that I made that decision, and we immediately transferred all our latex paint over to Acrylatex. And I'm happy that we did.
I am too.
And I'm happy to say I'd be glad to accept that I was a small part of it.
You're a big part.
Because of Steve, I was able to pay my girlfriend back the loan I took out within 3.5 years. I worked 3.5 years without a day off, 7 days a week. I kid you not. This is the truth. 7 days a week. I did the accounting, the payroll, the forklift driving, the paint mixing, offloading trucks, loading trucks, bulking, the whole 9 yards. Robert and I grew so much together. And in 3.5 years, I didn't take a paycheck, because all my profits went to Nora to pay her off for that loan. I was that dedicated to take care of her. And she ended up marrying me a few years later, so thank God that all happened. It's been a fantastic ride.
Good thing you paid back that loan, huh?
That was your test. You didn't pay it back, you were getting married.
About I'm thinking 30 plus, maybe 35 years ago, I ran into another gentleman that's here today, Mr. Gilbert. Come on up here, buddy. Gilbert and I go back, I'm thinking 35 years?
36.
36 years. Bidding against each other to buy paint from the big boys and sell it and remanufacture it. So he was the big exporter into Mexico, and he still is. He's one of our number one customers, Mr. Gilbert. He has a few words to say, I think.
I definitely
I'm so glad you're here.
I definitely do. Good, bad, and ugly. No, there's nothing ugly about Brian. Believe me. I met Brian at Sinclair. It was 36 years ago. What Brian was doing then, it was silos, everything, just about everything.
Hazardous waste management.
Yes.
Industrial cleaning.
And he was also with me buying, because the companies merged. What is it? ICI Dulux. bought all kinds of companies and they joined them together, and it was a bidding war. But the thing is, we both respected each other, dealt with each other, and to this day, I'm honored to be your friend. I consider you as a good friend.
We're better friends than we are business buddies.
That's
for sure.
that is so true, and I've seen him grow, and I'm proud of him because of his tenacity and also his integrity. I'll tell you something. I've met people in business, but there's no one I can compare you to you in regards to the work ethics and the ethics of your business. Another thing about Brian, I've seen his personal life, in regards to his family, his two daughters, and, what he was going through in the beginning. And honestly, I kept him in prayer. I know it's hard to believe, but I'm so happy he's here. He's escalated and he's here. He's got good people working for him. All these guys here that you see here today, office manager, they work together as a family. He is the head of the family, and he treats everyone well. I personally, I'm a benefactor. When he has something out there, he gives me a call. Hey, Gil, I got something for you. I go, really? But it's not complicated. It's just a good relationship, and he's a good businessman. It's basically what I can tell you about Brian, and he's got a great heart. Thank you.
Well, we can go on and on. The thanks that I have are unmeasurable. I'm only as successful as as your team is, the strength of your team. And this team standing here represents the strength of me. I can now walk away from my business sometimes for a week or two, and I don't come back to a menagerie of paperwork and problems and fires I have to put out. They've handled it. What more could I ask for of a man coming into his golden years, that I can go relax once in a while because of the hard work? I've been self-employed for over 35 years, and to have a team that I can trust and love and appreciate, such as these guys here, plus another 35 that are actually still working at the factory. I can't say thank you enough, guys. I want to speak about a little project coming up that might be interesting for you to follow. We've met a company by the name of Global Green. They are a large green activist company, and we have landed a project in New Orleans to paint over 100 homes that need to be rehabbed with them. We are donating paint, selling paint, providing paint and primer for them, and our project manager, you may know his name, Mr. Brad Pitt. Little Montage Paint's going to be supplying that project for them, and that will gain so much exposure on a worldwide level of how valuable Montage Paint can be to the environment. Which brings me up to a little bit of information about why we recycle, why Montage Paint is in existence. As a consumer, we have to really think about nowadays of what we're buying, why we're buying it, and what the benefit is besides our wallet sometimes. For the last 3 years, Montage Paint Acrylatex Coatings has produced 1,425,865 gallons of recycled product. That's a lot of paint coming out of paint cans that we receive that are this full, or this full, and turn it into a viable product once again. That would have ended up in a landfill or incineration. There's 3 choices: recycle it, landfill it, or incinerate it. As you can imagine, incineration is probably our last choice that we should have. Landfill's bad as well, I should say, but the incineration part. So there's been studies that show for every gallon of paint that's remanufactured, upcycled, recycled, whatever term you want to use, saves portions of the environment, yes? For every gallon of upcycled Montage paint, saves 9 to 13 gallons of fresh water. So in the last 3 years, we've saved 18,500,000 gallons of fresh water. During a few years ago and today, we're all in a drought again. So every gallon saved is a gallon earned, yes? 100 kilowatt hours of power is saved by 1 gallon of paint. In 3 years, we've saved 142,600,000 kilowatt hours of energy. For every gallon of upcycled paint, 115 pounds of carbon dioxide is not emitted from the process of creating a 1 gallon can of virgin paint. So the difference between a virgin paint and an upcycled paint, we saved 164 million pounds of carbon dioxide that was emitted into the air. So as a consumer, as you can see, there's a choice. And the choice is for our future, the benefit of the earth, the air that we breathe, the landfill spaces that we have, the ground contamination water that we're all contributing to by everything that we throw in the trash. And that's why paint's not allowed to be thrown in the trash, because it contaminates our drinking water. So as you can see, it's not just paint. It's kind of like a life-saving benefit to the earth. And we are all stewards of this earth. And we need to make common practice of the products that we purchase. We may have an alternative out there. It may not be the newest, it may not be the shiniest, it may not be the best. But if it's upcycled or reused or reproduced in some way, it's saving something. So I want you guys to think about that next time you buy paint or a pair of shoes or carpet or building materials. It's all available out there if you go look for it. I've thanked Robert, I've thanked my team over here. Adriana, I can't appreciate you much. Jose is our store manager here for Montage Paint. We're trying to drive him more traffic to keep him busier. So I think I've taken enough time. Ben, I want to hand the mic over to you for a moment. You do what you got. Thank you again so much, everybody, for coming. If I'm long-winded, I apologize, but I have so much love, affection, and drive for my little business. Thank you again.
Thank you, boss. Brian Britton, everybody. Thank you for your patience, guys. I promise I won't be more than like 30 minutes, okay? I'm going to make this brief. I need to take just a quick second to brag on Mr. Brian Britton, because he's not going to brag himself, as you can already tell. He's an extremely humble guy, slow to take credit and quick to give it. And I can't tell you how thankful I am personally for this guy and the opportunity he's given me to jump on board. I've been with this company a little over 4 years, and I have learned so much. One trait that stands out with you, Brian, to me, this guy's the most generous man I know. I'm not exaggerating.
Yes.
I grew up in West Michigan. There's a lot of Dutch folks over there. They are some of the most cheap people on this planet, let me tell you. That is a true stereotype. Try it. Test it out if you know somebody who's Dutch. So I was raised in that environment, and when I met this guy, I'm like, man, this guy's so generous. But he really is, guys. And I'm extremely thankful for the opportunity to have worked with Brian, and looking forward to a future with him in this company. So I'm going to peel back the curtain a little bit, if you will, real quick. You know, you see a paint store, right? A paint company. They make paint and they sell paint. All right. Well, I'm going to peel back the curtain a little bit and let you know what we do beyond what you see here. Brian donates thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons of paint every year to nonprofits. One of them is Feed the Children. There's World Mission Organizations. What was the other one? Food for the Poor is another big one. So Brian loves the opportunity to give paint to, paint orphanages and schools in developing countries. So we're proud to have our paint there all around the world. Another thing we do is we like to give paint and people a second chance. I used to work at a job center, and we would try to help ex-offenders get out into the workforce. Man, that was tough. There were very few employers that were willing to hire people with a criminal record. But ever since I came in, and many years prior, Brian's been hiring folks that are part of reentry programs coming out of incarceration, and he's helped a lot of people get initially and maintain and grow in their employment for many, many years. It's a very powerful thing. We are growth minded. I know some companies have several levels of interviews and screening processes, but at some level, we ask people, hey, are you ready to work? You gonna work hard? You gonna show up on time? Not gonna be a knucklehead? Welcome to Montage Paint. And that's about it. And many times it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but that's okay. We're willing to take that chance because we recognize that we're recipients of God's mercy and grace. We ourselves are works in progress, and we want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt and give them at least a chance at employment and growing. So that's another thing that Brian invests in. A third thing, real quick, we have something called our Leadership Academy. So like I said, we're growth-minded, growth-oriented, and we have a program where it's a 10-week deal. We let employees come in and they basically take one class a week for 10 weeks on different areas of leadership, defining leadership, communication, goal setting, time management, etc. At the end, they get to do a presentation, and we have kind of a wall of fame, we call it, where they get a certificate on the wall when they're done. And just another way we like to invest in our employees and help them grow. And we always encourage them, hey, we want you to grow in this company, and if you find a position somewhere else where you're going to grow there, then you have our blessing. So I love the way Brian operates. Those are just a few of the things he has going on. And just to kind of let you know who we are and what we're about. And it's really a reflection of this guy's heart. So thank you so much, everybody. We really appreciate you coming and supporting us today.
Any of my illustrious employees want to say a word? You're allowed to. Keep it down under 30 minutes, please. They're all shy. I get it. I love and appreciate each and every one.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Everything that